Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Algorithm Minds. My name is Asan Khurram, and in this channel I teach programming skills in Python, MATLAB and R programming. I also teach fundamentals and advanced topics in data analysis, data science, statistical analysis. So if you are a person who wants to learn Python from beginning, or you are a person who wants to excel in data science career, I request you to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell icon button, because soon I will be posting videos related to statistical analysis in Python, which is one of the core and fundamental aspect for any data science professional. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to discuss about the fundamentals of Python programming, and specifically I'm going to talk about what are the different data types in Python and how we can actually create those data types in Python. So data types in Python represents the kind of values that variables can hold. Here are some common data types. The first one is actually numeric data type, where we have integers, which are whole numbers without decimal points. Then we have floating point numbers, which are also called float. These are real numbers with decimal points. Then we have complex numbers, or simply called complex. These numbers with deals with real and imaginary part. Then let's discuss about the text type data. For in text type data, we have string, which is a sequence of characters enclosed in a single or double quotes. Then we have a boolean type data, which represents a logical operation or logical statement, which can represent either true or false. And let's move on to actually discuss about data structures. Python provides several built-in data structures to organize and manipulate data. The first one is actually list, which is an ordered collection of items that are mutable. Then we have tuple, which are ordered collection of items that are immutable. Then we have sets, which are unordered collection of unique items. Then we have dictionaries, which are key value pairs for efficient data retrieval. Dictionaries are unordered, mutable, iteratable, making them efficient for accessing and manipulating data based on keys. What are actually mutable data types? So they allow their content to be modified after creation. This is for mutable data types. This means you can add, remove or modify elements without changing the identity of the object in mutable data type, which are actually list and also dictionaries. What are immutable data types? These are the data types that do not allow their content to be changed after creation. Once an immutable object is created, its value cannot be modified. And if you recall, tuples are actually immutable objects. And finally, you can also do the conversion between them. Okay, so you can convert between different data types using typecasting functions like integer, float, and strs, and etc. So we are going to practice that within this lecture, so don't worry. So let's move on and let's start discussing about the numeric data types that we have used, that we have briefly touched earlier. So we have like I have initialized a variable name my underscore integer, and I have assigned a value equal to 42. So when then I am going to use a print function here, and within the print function I'm using another function type, which actually help us give the class of the object that we are passing it as an input argument. In this case, I'm passing my integer as an input argument to type, so it will help us calculate what is actually the class type of this object, and then the print function will actually help us to print that class type. So I have done, like, I have declared my integer, like I have initialized a variable my underscore integer, and I have declared a value 42. And remember that this is for integer class. And if you recall that there was another form of data type that is called float, which has decimal points. So I will also initialize a variable my float, and I will assign a value 3.14, which is actually a float value. Then I'm also interested to know what is its class type. So for this purpose, I have followed the same notation of I have used print function, then I have used the type function, and within the type function I have passed the input argument my float. And then I have remember that there is another form of number that is called complex, that has real and imaginary parts. So this is how you actually define a complex number in Python. For example, 2 is the real part plus the imaginary part, which we define by writing the numeric value along with j, where j stands for the complex number. So that's how you can actually define a complex number in Python. And then I'm also interested to know about its class. So I have declared three variables, integer, float, and complex. Then I have used type function to identify their class type. So let me just run this code for you. So after running the code, you can see that integer actually do have a class integer, and my float has a class float, and my complex has a class complex. So you right now you know how to declare numeric data types of integer, float, or complex in Python. Let's move on to actually working on string type data. So for this purpose, we are going to declare initialize a variable text underscore str. Then we are going to assign a value. So if you want to actually write or define a string data type, you have to actually use quotation marks. So whatever you put inside the quotation mark will be treated as a string data type. So here you can see that I have defined hello world within double quotations. So this, by adopting this analogy, you will be able to declare string type data in Python. So double quotation marks, and within the double quotation mark, whatever you write will be treated as a string data type. Okay, so for example, if I write string hello world, so again this all will be treated as a string data type. Now this is one way you can actually create a string by writing anything within the double quotation mark, then assigning it or declaring it to a variable. Just in our case, we have declared it, assign it to text underscore str. So this is how you actually create a string data type. Now in this Python statement here, I have used the method format here, which helped me to dynamically add values to the placeholder. If you see this Python statement here, I have like some value within those double quotation, like my name is a pair of curly braces, and I am a pair of curly braces years old. Okay, so this is again a string type data. We are able to identify it by the use of double quotation, that this is defined as a string type data. Now what is of our interest is actually this square braces, a pair of square braces, which are called placeholder. We intentionally put square braces here because this allows us to actually add string type data by the use of format method. So we have put two square braces here, pair of square braces here and here, and then I have used format method. Then with that format method, I'm passing two input arguments, because I have defined two placeholder so that we can actually embed variables or data in it. So see that dot format, then square round brace, and then we have like John, and 30 is there. So if I have to read it, it will be like my name is John and I am 30 years old. So this is like how you can actually encapsulate variable within a string by using format method. There are other methods as well, such as fstring method. So again, which I have actually extensively discussed in my tutorial. So this is another method that you can actually encapsulate data or variable in a string. So when I do that, now after I done that, I'm more interested to know what is actually the class type of this formatted string. For this purpose, I'm going to use the same Python statement I have used earlier. I will use print function. Within those print function, I'm going to write type function, and I will pass the input argument text str. So see to check what is the class type of this data. So you can see that with this the class type of this data is actually a string type data. So this is how you actually can define a string type data in Python. And also, if you want to dynamically format your string by then you have learned another important method that is called format method, where you encapsulate variables within a string. Now you know how to declare numeric type data and how to declare string type data. Let's move on to actually discussing about the Python data structures. The first one we are going to discuss is list. So the definition of list is such that you have to actually define elements within square braces. So for this purpose, I have initialized a variable named my list underscore list, then I have assigned a value, a list of 4 elements, and the list is always defined within square braces, and within the square braces the elements are separated by the help of comma. So 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. So it's a list of numeric data where it starts from 1 to ends at 4. Then again, I'm interested to know about the data type of the string. Then again, I'm interested to know about the data type of my variable which I have declared earlier by the use of string. So I'm going to use the same Python statement. We can use type function. And when I run this block of code here, you can see that the class is actually a list. So this is how you actually define a list in Python. Square braces, and then if you want to write multiple elements within square braces, you have to separate it by the help of comma. Now let's move on and discuss about how we can actually declare tuples. So tuples are kind of similar to list, but in order to define tuples, you will use round braces instead of square braces. So you can see that I have initialized a variable my tuple, and I will use round braces instead of square braces to initialize a tuple, and I have declared 5 elements in it, 1 2 3 4 5. Again, the methodology applies here the same, that if you want to declare element, you have to separate it by the help of comma. So once I have done that, now you can see that I will try to run the same Python statement and check its class. So when I run it, now you can see that now I am getting a tuple instead of a list, because I have defined square braces, round braces instead of square braces. So that's how define a list and a tuple in Python. Now just briefly discuss about pair of set here. So as you recall that I told you, like there's another. So if you recall here, we go back to the definition. We have list, we have tuples, we have sets, and we have dictionaries. Now let's discuss about sets, how we can actually define sets in our Python environment. For in order to define sets for numeric values, we are going to use curly braces. So the difference is here the curly braces. So we install, for the list we use square braces, for tuple we use round braces, and if you want to define it as a set, we will use curly braces. And we have used curly braces. I have initialized a variable set underscore example. Then I have defined set by using curly braces, and then pass elements to it, 1 2 3 4 5. Again, if you want to declare multiple values within that set, you will use comma to separate the elements. Now I will use check, and now let's see and check its class. What's the class type of this data type? So it's now a set. So that's how you actually create sets in Python. Finally, let's move on to actually discussing about dictionaries. I have a detailed tutorial on dictionary. I will comment down the link in the video description, so you can actually go to the video and watch the complete tutorial on dictionaries, how you can actually deal with dictionary, how you can actually access values from a dictionary, how you can update the dictionary, and how you can actually get its keys, values, and key value pairs by using for loop. So I suggest you to go and check the video. It's a highly responsible tutorial. I will put the link in the video description, so you can go and check that video. So this is how in order to define a dictionary in Python, we are going to use the curly braces here, as we have used in the scenario of sets. So remember, if you want to declare a dictionary, you will use curly braces, and within the curly braces you will define key value pair. So by key and value pair, it means we have two things. The first one is key, and the second one is actually the value. So in our case, the key is here age, and the value is 30. So that's how you define a key value pair. So we have like a key that is defined in string type data, key, age, it could be city, it could be anything. Then its associated value, which is defined by putting a colon after a key and then defining the associated value. It could be a numeric value 30 in case of age key, or it could be a string value in case of name key. So that's how you actually define a dictionary. And remember that if the key value pair, each key value pair has to be separated from other key value pair by the use of comma, just as we have declared, just as I suggested you when we are declaring elements in a list or tuple or even a set. So comma will be used to separate elements of dictionary. An element in a dictionary is actually a key value pair. Instead of a single value, it's a key value pair, where key is actually a string defined in string, and value could be a string type data or a numeric type data. So that's how you actually define a dictionary in Python. Let me just run this code for you. Now you can see that this class is actually a dictionary type class. And finally, let's move on to actually discuss about Boolean type data. A Boolean type data is actually a logical data where you have actually either true or false value. Whether this condition can be true, this condition might be false. So in that case, we will have false. So it's kind of a Boolean logic, like where you have 0 and 1. In Python, you can define true by using capital T, RUE, or you can define false by capital F and FALSC, false. Okay, so that's how you actually define a Boolean type data in Python. I have initialized a variable Boolean underscore example, and I have assigned a value true to it, and then I'm interested in know about its class type. So I have used the same Python statement here, and I run it. You see that I have actually gotten a Boolean type data. So that's how you can actually create a Boolean type data. Finally, let's discuss about how we can actually convert some data types to some other data types. For example, we can convert floating type data into integer type data. We can convert integer type data to floating type data. And we can even convert string type data into integer type data by the use of casting function. So it's quite easy to do, and let me teach you how. First of all, I have initialized a variable named myFloat, and I have assigned a value 3.14, which is a float type data. Now I am interested in converting that float type data into integer type data. How I can actually do that? I will use this function int, and then I will pass the input argument, the declared floating number I have declared earlier. So I will pass it as an input argument. Finally, when after I have been passed it and the number has been converted into integer, I am interested to know about the class of this newly created variable myInteger, which has been obtained after the conversion from floating to integer. And the same way we have like myInteger, where I have initialized a variable name myInteger, and I have assigned a value 42, which is an integer type data. And now I'm interested in converting that integer type data to a floating type data. For this purpose, I'm going to pass this variable name to a function called float, which converts integer to float type data. And after I have done that, I'm interested to know about the class of this newly created or converted variable. So for this purpose, I'm going to pass this myFloat to the same Python statement of passing it to type function. And lastly, we have initialize a variable myString, and I have assigned a value, a string value. Recall that string is defined within double quotation marks. So you see that 1, 2, 3 actually defined within double quotation mark. So it's a string type data. It's not an integer type data. Okay, keep remember that, because it is defined within the quotation marks. Now we have a string type data. Now I'm interested in converting that string type data to integer type data. So how we can actually achieve that? We can easily achieve that by using this function int integer, and passing the declared string type data to this function. I'm able to convert this string to integer and store it in a new variable named myInteger underscore integer. And lastly, I'm interested to know about the class type of this newly converted variable. So I will use the same print statement, and within the print statement, I'm going to use type function. There's a little bit error. So instead of like myString, I'm going to use myInteger. So now you see that for myInteger, which was actually where we actually converted from float to integer, I have a class integer now. So this number is actually converted into integer now. And if you go look at the second example, where was the class was actually integer and we converted into a float type data. Now the class is actually a float. And when we come to the last example, we have a string type data, and by using integer function, we were able to convert it into integer type data. So that was a comprehensive tutorial on various types of data and how we can actually declare them in Python environment. I hope this tutorials are quite helpful for you. If you have any questions regarding this tutorial or anything related to data science or data analysis, feel free to come write your problem or questions in the comment statement. I will be happy to help you or answer you. That's it for now. And as a reminder, I told you, like, if you want to learn data science or data analysis or statistical analysis, I request you to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell icon button, because soon I will be posting videos related to statistical analysis in Python, which is again one of the core fundamental aspects for any data science professional. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you soon in the next video.